Slow poker.
I have a career and a family, but also play poker, which doesn't leave me much time. So let's get to it. I've got ace-jack of clubs in the small blind. After a straddle and 3 limps, I raise to 17 and get calls from 2 limpers. The flop is 10 high with 2 low cards I forget, and while I completely whiff, I still lead for 20 because sometimes you just gotta keep your foot on the gas. The button calls, and after some low card turn doesn't improve my hand or bring in a draw, I check, because sometimes you just gotta tap the brakes just because, there might be some traffic ahead. Is that traffic? Yeah, that's probably traffic. On some low card river brick, I check again because sometimes you just gotta pull over since you may have left your driver's license at home and you're a little tired, so better play it safe.
Check.
Go down.
You got it.
Oh, wow. All right.
Daddy, why do we stop?
Oh, I didn't stop. I'm just getting started. Oh, parking brake. Sorry. I'm under the gun with ace-king, raise to 12, and get 3-bet to 30 by the low jack. As I consider my options, not 1, not 2, but 3 players flat call. Over the course of a half second, I consider the following. None of those 3 flatters have pocket aces or kings. My only concern is the low jack, and since my hand blocks both aces and kings, ideally he's got jacks or queens. And facing a large 4-bet from me, he'll know that at best he's coin flipping, and at worst he's dominated. And I've been folding pre-flop for a full hour, so I can take advantage of my tight table image and take down all that dead money right here, right now. Old me might be passive in this spot, but new me?
110.
110, new bet.
The low jack mucks his pocket jacks, the others follow suit with whatever they had, and I take it down with ace high. Old me meet new me. Just 4-bet. You'll thank me later. What's your favorite card protector? I never really used one, but that changes today. The straddle is on and I've got cowboys in the big blind. After 1 limper, the small blind raises to 22 and I 3-bet to 75. Then something happens that's never, ever happened to me, ever.
Where are my cards? What's this happen?
This is not your hand, is it?
So he re-raises to whatever the stack is, and then he looks down and he doesn't have his cards.
After a long discussion, the floor rules that my hand is dead and we all move on as if the pocket kings never existed. Small blind, how do you feel?
What trash did you raise with?
Trash? I don't know about trash. I raised ace-4 suited small, standard open, and when I saw you reaching for chips, I was like, F***, and then I saw your cards were just gone. Very good, very funny.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
He sure seems happy, but what about my mental state? I'm on the low jack with 6s, raise to 11, and get called by the hijack and big blind. The flop is so 6y. Big blind checks, and I bet small, given this board is so dry, and I'd love to entice a single ace to call, and sure enough, big blind obliges. On this turn, big blind leads for 20, assuming he's ahead, and I have to stifle a smile. I assemble a re-raise, but to my embarrassment, mistakenly bet a tiny 55, and of course he calls. I put the big blind on 2 pair because I can't see him leading turn with anything worse. So logically speaking, as long as I fade an ace or a king on this river, I'm golden. It's a jack, so we're good to go, and wait, he overbet leads for 200? Sorry, what? Hold on, I wasn't fading a better boat, I was fading a flush? Now I take a sledgehammer to my assumptions and tank to liberate. This guy led turn and now called my bad misclick re-raise with a flush draw? Still, regardless of how we got here, the conclusion has to be. Doubtful this is overvalued 2 pair, and it could be a bluff, but it's probably the nuts. And while I can't bear folding a set, I repeat to myself, it's probably the nuts. 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 Okay, while that is catchy, there's a chance it's not the nuts. I mean, this guy did check raise bluff me earlier, so he could be making a move here with the naked ace of clubs. And according to the brains at Red Chip Poker, while they agree I did botch my earlier bet sizing, and while I'm probably not a favorite against a river donk range, they do say I'm getting the right price to call. So it's decided. I'm not folding, because it's not always the nuts.
I call.
I told you literally dozens of times. As I pass the big blind a couple of towers of chips, I ask if he'd consider using them to buy my new album. The Sounds of Slow Poker can be yours for just $277. With classic hits like, It's Probably the Nuts. It's Probably the Nuts. It's Probably the Nuts. A few hands later, UTG1 raises to 12, gets 3-bet to 40 by the low jack, and I'm in the cutoff with queens. The low jack is the same luck box from the previous hand, and while this 3-bet screams aces or kings, if that's what he's got, then I've got far better odds than he did when he cracked my set. Not only would I have a 19.4% shot under normal conditions, but I also get to tack on the It's Only Fair 6x multiplier, bringing my chances to 116.4%. I like those odds, so I 4-bet jam. As the 3-better snap calls and shows the aces, I explain that I carefully crunch the numbers and sorry pal, but I'm ahead. Trust the math, people. Trust the math. One limper to me with ace-queen of clubs in the hijack, so I raise to 12 and get calls from the cutoff, big blind, and limper. Okay, let's pause here. Okay, so normally I know I'm in voiceover for these parts, but I have to tell you about this table because some of these players were calling 4-bets with 6 deuce and just crushing real hands. So when I wake up with ace-queen of clubs, I'm just thinking, dealer, give me something I can work with. A club draw, an ace, a queen, even a gut shot draw, just something I can work with. Two checks to me, and I consider leading small here, but check, and thankfully cutoff bets 15. The other players fold, I check turn, and cutoff bets 25. I almost min-click it back here, but decide instead to give her the impression she's ahead, or let her catch up. After a river blank, I figure my best chance for more value is to induce one more time, but she checks back. And absolutely, I savor this moment that's so rare in this game, but more importantly, given last episode's mailbag, it does get me thinking bigger. Is there any better feeling than flopping quads? Yeah, I'm wielding this newfound power. Will you personally eradicate COVID forever? Yes. I've got 8-4 of hearts on the button, and facing 2 limps, I go against type and over limp. With a marginal hand like this, it'll be obvious on the flop whether I whiff or smash. That falls under smash. 2 checks to me, I bet 10, and big blind wearing a chic red shirt calls. I brace myself on this turn for a paired board or another heart, but it's neither, so I bet 25. As red shirt calls, he talks, which resets my thinking. Because after his flop call, I'd figured he could have 2 pair, maybe a set, but most likely just a card that has both a face and a heart. However, if his table talk is real talk, then he's got an ace and a big heart kicker, in which case, I know what I have to fade. And I fade it. As I consider sizing, he makes his own recommendation.
Now I know I have you up here. Better make it a hefty one, like 130.
Instead, I opt for a slightly more palatable 90, and he tanks.
I do not believe you have it. I believe I had you out, kid.
I could tell him that he definitely should have folded every street without a heart, or that he had a minuscule chance on that flop, or that for all his talk of out-kicking me, if I didn't have the flush, then his ace-5 only out-kicks ace-4 and no other ace. Instead, I can't help but think about Star Trek, and how people in red shirts don't last long, and wonder if the same applies at the poker table. Maybe we'll find out. I've got ace-10 on the hijack, raised to 12, and get called by red shirt in the big blind. After flopping an ace, he checks, I bet about half pot, and he calls. When the turn's another 7, he leads for 36. This line doesn't make sense. If he turned trips, he wouldn't lead here. But I'm so tired that for a moment I forget that this is one of the most common bluff spots on the block, and I foolishly fold. After it's too late, I realize my blunder and confirm as much.
Want to show the bluff?
Sure will.
Nice bluff, nice bluff, nice bluff.
Sure will. You ain't put that on the blog.
Okay, first off, it's a vlog, not a blog. But my older brother calls it a vlog, so in that respect, at least you've got him outkicked. Second, this will go on the vlog, or blog, or vlog, or live journal, because it shows how I make an effort to learn from these bad mistakes. And lastly, Kirk said there's something suspicious in the next hand. Do you mind setting your phaser to stun and taking a look? Thanks. The straddle is on, and after 1 limp, I look down at ace-king from the hijack, raise to 20, and get calls from red shirt, the straddler, and the limper. After this flop, there are 2 checks to me, I bet 40, red shirt calls, and the others fold. The turn's a blank, I bet 100, and then...
I call. I call.
Captain, I see something!
And that'll do it for episode 5 of Slow Poker. I'd be grateful if you'd like and subscribe. Also, if you see my pocket kings, please tell them to come home. Until next time, this has been
Slow Poker.
I know